If you're a first-time home buyer, or maybe a second, third, or fourth-time home buyer, but it's been a minute since you were looking for homes the last time, there is such a thing as showing etiquette. And in this video, I'm going to help you understand what to look forward to before you start looking at homes with your agent. Let's get to it. A lot of these feel like common sense things, so bear with me. Maybe you'll learn something, maybe you won't, but I'm sure that there are people out there that will benefit from this video. So first up, for our first do, because this is do's and don'ts of showing etiquette, our first do is to be on time. And not only should you be on time, like duh, if you're, what's that saying? If you're not early, you're late. No, I am an on-time person. I will be there on time. And we always want to make sure that we are on time, and not only on time for our showing appointment, but that we stay within our time limit. So when we schedule the showing, we say, okay, well, we'll be there between 12 and 12:30. And so as long as we arrive in that time frame, we should be good. But then we can't be staying for like another half hour. We need to respect that the owner has set aside this time for us, and there may be other showings. We got to be quick. So we're going to get in and we're going to get out, ideally within our scheduled time frame. When you're looking at houses, you should never let cats or dogs out of the house. And also, strangely enough, never let cats or dogs inside a house, even if it seems like they live there, because you don't actually know what's going on. And actually, while you're at the house, just leave the pets alone. They're probably a little bit stressed as it is that they're having strangers inside their home periodically, and maybe their parents aren't there. So, we'll just let them do their thing in their kennel or in the corner, wherever they're at in the house, and we'll leave them alone. You should wear slip-on or slip-off shoes. You should wear shoes that you can slip on and off quickly, because there's nothing more awkward than having to take off your shoes and then everyone is waiting on you to lace them up, and it's really awkward. So slip on, slip off shoes. Be aware that you're probably on camera. We've got a lot of security technology out there, and people have it in their homes. Sometimes it's obvious, sometimes it's not. So just be aware that you're probably on camera and it may or may not have sound. So don't give away how much you love the house. Don't give away your pricing strategy, your negotiation strategy, and certainly don't say anything that would offend the seller or make them hate you. If you comment on how ugly the painting over the fireplace is, even if that is incredibly true, it might hurt their feelings. And then when it comes time to negotiate the offer with you, they might not be real happy to do that. So your comments could work against you. It's okay to try things with the house, but not the personal belongings. So you can open a cupboard door, you can open a drawer, you can open the refrigerator, but don't touch anything that's in there. Hands off the personal belongings. Also, when we're looking at the house, we should all stick together. Sometimes people bring parents or kids or friends on their showing. And sometimes it can be a kind of big group. And then you have people who are like, okay, I'm going to go upstairs. Okay, I'm going to go to the basement. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do that. And all of a sudden, everyone is spread out throughout the house. No, that is very, very difficult for the realtor and for the buyers too. Because if you and your partner that you're buying the house with are separated, you're having a totally different experience, and you just don't know what the other one is thinking or what they're actually seeing. So stick together. Everyone stays together, especially if you have kids, because you also want to keep an extra close eye on them to make sure that they're not touching the personal belongings that we just talked about. Sometimes the seller will leave a note, and that note might be at the house, or it might be listed in the agent remarks on the MLS, or maybe it was a specific directive that we were giving when they approved our showing. But that note from the seller, that might say, leave all the lights on. Okay, we'll do that. Whatever the seller asks us to do, we will do. If there's a note that says, take off your shoes, even if you don't think you should have to take off your shoes, there's a note that says, take off your shoes. So we have to respect that. If there's a note that says, leave the door open for the cat, Okay. We don't know whose cat it is, but we'll leave the door open. In general, we're going to make sure that we leave the home exactly as we found it. If the lights were on when we get there, we're going to leave the lights on when we leave, unless there's a note. We want to make sure that there's no evidence left behind that would indicate that we were there. The sellers have gone to a lot of work to prepare their home ready for sale, and they have left their home so that we can come into it and check it out and maybe make the decision to purchase it. But if we mess it up somehow while we're there, well, that's just not cool. So we're not going to do that. We're going to leave it the way we found it. It's also very poor etiquette to cancel your showing at the very last minute. Because again, the seller has gone to a lot of work to make the property available to us. And when we cancel 5 minutes before we're supposed to be there, that is a major letdown to the seller. So if you have to cancel, try and give as much time as possible. Okay, we talked about how personal belongings are off limits, but so is the furniture. Do not ever, for any reason, lay on somebody's bed or jump on the bed or hang out on their furniture. Like, maybe we might need to sit down at the dining room table to talk about offer strategy, but overall, this is their home, their stuff. We don't know them. They don't know us. We're not there to chillax. So the furniture might look super comfortable, but we're not going to try it out. Believe it or not, I've had people who have brought their dogs on showings. And the only dog that is actually allowed to go on a showing with you is a service dog, one that you need and that has like a service vest, not an emotional support dog. You know, there's a big difference between a service dog and a support dog. So leave your pets and your support dogs at home or in the car. Your service dogs are okay. But in general, we want to not take animals into a stranger's home when they haven't asked us or given us permission to do that. Okay, this one might be a little bit TMI, but don't use the bathroom when you are looking at someone's house. Now, I know that sometimes the situation can't be avoided, and I get it. And in that case, it's okay. And I will say, oh, well, it's okay to test somebody's plumbing before you buy the house. One thing that makes sellers incredibly angry very fast is when people who are looking at their home use their bathroom and then they leave evidence behind. Oh, that might be TMI, but it goes without saying that when you are looking at someone's house, you're on a showing, try not to use the facilities because it's just not great etiquette. If you do have to use the facilities, I understand it happens. Just make sure that you flush and that you leave the bathroom exactly the way that you found it. Similar to a business, you would not want to bring in any food or drink into a home that you are touring on a showing because God forbid you spill or your food smells. Who knows? But imagine having to clean up spilled fruit punch on their white carpet. Oh my God, no. Leave the food and the drink in the car. And finally, no smoking in the driveway or in the yard, and definitely not in the house. And that goes for vaping too. Leave the vape and the cigs in your car and just take care of that on your own time when you're not on their property. A good rule of thumb is to not do anything in someone else's home that you wouldn't feel comfortable with a stranger doing in yours. The golden rule applies here. Okay, that's it for my showing etiquette tips, our do's and don'ts. And now I bet you are fully prepared to have an amazing showing tour with no spilled fruit punch. I love it. And that's it. Those are my best etiquette tips for things to do and not do when you are looking at homes for sale. And good luck. I hope you find a great home to purchase.